Thor, Tony, check it out.
At once. Well, what are we waiting for?
What's going on, everyone? So I was at PAX West because we do a lot of gaming stuff on our gaming channel, Eligible Monster, and I stream a lot of video games over on our stream channel, twitch.tv/Eligible Monster. And I've been working recently a lot with Square Enix because on my Twitch channel, which I do almost every single morning of the week, I play a lot of Final Fantasy XIV. Now, I was there to play Final Fantasy VII Remake and to play Trials of Mana. Loved them both, and I'll talk about them at the end of this video because I know some of you are going to care about my opinions. But the reason you clicked the video, let's do that first. So I got to play Marvel Avengers. And before we go into any spoiler territory, I'm gonna talk to you guys about my experience playing that entire opening tutorial that we've seen in the trailer, and then the plot points that they have hinted at, basically what's coming up next. I'm gonna talk about all of that. But if you are looking for no spoilers and you just wanted to know my overall opinions of it, I loved it. Like, I know I was one of the ones that had a lot of the complaints with the initial trailers and stuff like that, and I know a lot of you did as well. We have a weird kind of relationship with video games as comic book fans because we want the perfect adaptation of our comic book. But at the same time, as a video game fan, we understand that there needs to be video game elements and things that happen in it. So overall, I thought it was great. I had a great time with it, and I'm looking forward to the game coming out. Now, let's move on to the story of me actually playing Marvel's Avengers. So, I think it's Marvel's Avengers? Marvel Avengers. The Avengers game by Square Enix, made by Crystal Dynamics. Anyway. So, we got to go into there. First off, it was kind of funny. So, I was invited there actually not to play Marvel Avengers, which I thought was hilarious. So, I didn't even know the Avengers game was going to be there. I got invited to go play Final Fantasy VII Remake and talk to you guys about that, which I'm going to do. And I also got invited to play Trials of Mana because I'm a huge Mana fan. And so I was there playing them, and I saw the big banner for the Avengers game. And I'm like, hey guys, so I run this channel called Comicstorian. We're kind of known in the comic book space. You invited me for the Final Fantasy games. Do you want me to try the Avenger game? And they were like, oh yeah, that makes sense. You want to come back in a couple hours? So I did. So we go in there, and basically the way they did it was we sat down, we got to play the game initially. There was 6 people in the room or 8 people in the room at a time. And then we got to go watch and Q&A with the director or president of Crystal Dynamics. He's very high up there, the individual, so I have a few of those questions that I asked him. The game was great. First up, the graphics are really cleaned up. Seeing the game in action, I was super happy with how they looked. There were still a few things that looked a little wonky, but basically the game is built around the idea of customization. So like, I didn't like the appearance of Thor's armor, but you can pick a lot of different armors and you can change that up later in the game. So that's gonna be okay. The voice acting, I thought was really good. I'm a huge fan of Nolan North and Troy Baker and all those guys that come out and do these things and the Critical Role people. So I'm a huge fan of the voice actors they picked. I understand that we're not gonna get the movie voice actors. I know a lot of you guys wanted that, but do you understand how expensive that would be? Like, come on, do you really think that Robert Downey Jr. is sitting around being like, man, can't wait to voice Iron Man in a video game. I'll do it dirt cheap to make it affordable. No, it's not gonna happen, okay? So we get to the actual game, and by the way, real quick, on our gaming channel, we had a long discussion of this with me, Natalie, and Andy talking about the game. That video's been up for about a week. You can see much a more in-depth discussion instead of me just telling you what I did. But anyway, that link will be down below along with our Discord and our Twitch channel. So anyway, back to what I was talking about. We go into the game, and I'm playing through all the storyline stuff. Each of the characters felt 100% unique. Okay, in the tutorial, you get to play each one of the characters briefly. Iron Man is very ranged, very blast with the unibeam, all these kinds of things. Thor felt like God of War. I'm not even joking. Like, you throw the hammer, you pin a guy against a wall, you're slamming on the ground. As I discovered later, apparently they got the combat director for God of War after God of War to come over and do the Avengers game. Which explains why, once I actually sat down and did the combat, it felt great. Thor felt like God of War. Iron Man's got all the unibeams, very ranged. Hulk, they made him feel like a beast. You're grabbing people off the ground, just slamming them down. It said eventually you can get 2 of them and slam them together like a cymbal. That was awesome. Captain America, I found a little bit of a glitch in the alpha gameplay I was playing, so this probably isn't going to be in the final version, but his concept is you can throw his shield, which ricochets off villains, and then in the tutorial, they're walking out of the tunnel, and I just threw the shield, and it just kept ricocheting down the hallway. Bear in mind, this is the alpha, so it's probably not going to be in the final version, but it was awesome to watch. I felt like I was in like a true Captain America moment, because it's like, yeah, watch how awesome I am. Bing, 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 bing. We have no footage for that because they will not let me show glitches, but it was awesome. And then I got to play Black Widow, who in the trailer, the only thing we've seen is her punching Taskmaster in the back of the head. Well, after that, you land, and she's very combo-based, and she has a grappling hook to draw people in. So that was a lot of fun, too. And then, of course, the story plays out. We got to see Kamala Khan, who he did confirm afterwards is Kamala Khan, and she is going to be in the game and stuff like that. Gameplay was really solid. I enjoyed it a lot. The transitions from the storyline to the gameplay was great. I thought it was good. And now we got to move on to the second section. So first up, I won't talk about the story elements to the end in case you don't want to hear about those. Gameplay elements, though. They showed us the world map. So basically, you're going to have the option of single player picking a world map location, going into the mission to complete your storyline. There's also going to be secondary missions, which conclude other side plots that they've opened up. Those are built for co-op. You will not be allowed to be the same character. So I can be Iron Man, Dan can be Black Widow. We all know he loves Black Widow. Probably more to look at her, but I don't know, it's Dan's decision. Anyway, we can have Black Widow, we can have Iron Man, but we can't have the same characters, and we each have different builds. That's another thing. The build menu very much reminded me of games like Destiny and looter shooters in general. You're gonna go out there and you're gonna get like your purples, you're gonna get your oranges, you're gonna get your greens, and you're gonna get these various things for your characters to create a build. The idea behind this is to create your superhero the way you want to build him. And the example they showed us was Thor. You can be a guy that throws the hammer and beats up everyone. Or you can grab all this stuff to build your Thor to fly and do crowd control and cast lightning on everyone. You can build them how you want to build them, and I kind of like that idea because Dan's Black Widow, which is pretty much all about like acrobatics and doing cool stuff, won't be like my Black Widow, which is probably going to be built for like the grappling hook and doing the guns and stuff like that. Same thing with Iron Man. Maybe he'll be more ranged based and I'll be more about the flight. So I like that idea of the loot stuff. The loot in general, the way they described it was, because I know some people are already panicking going, oh no, Avengers is a looter shooter? It kind of is, but once again, it felt very Destiny to me. If you've played Destiny, you know that you can get through the main plot and not even care about the looter shooter elements, getting to the conclusion. You don't have to worry about it, you can do the story. And they said that they're building it so you can do the same thing in the Avengers title. The reason that there's loot to grind and there's additional co-op missions to do and stuff like that is for the people that want to keep playing it. Now, some of you are going to immediately go, well, why would you keep playing the game? That's because we're going to get a lot of DLC, which they're already hyping up. I don't agree with hyping up that DLC, but they said it's going to continually flow out, so we're going to get it. And some people just play a lot of single-player games over and over and over, so why not give you the option to go farm things and make your Hulk the best Hulk that there can be? As long as you're not requiring me to participate in the looter shooter element, and it's an optional thing, I'll probably actually end up doing it. It's when you force me to do it that I get burned out and irritated with that kind of content. They said that they're going to be expanding outwards into the storyline, even implying that we're going to get more Avengers. The only one that he implied was Kamala Khan. We didn't get any more confirmation on beyond that. They said that they will not allow you to do multiples of the same characters, so no 4 Hulk situation, which I think is kind of good, because then I can be like, Dan, we're going on a mission, pull out your Thor, I'll get my Hulk, call up Houston, we'll get his Iron Man, and then Andy will show up and be like, no, I'm Iron Man, which will probably happen multiple times, but whatever will make it work. There was also, I asked if this is going to be involved in the Gamerverse, which if you've been following the comic books and stuff like that from Marvel, they're trying to build a Gamerverse, that Spider-Man game, in the Gamerverse. They did not confirm nor deny that. They just said that they're going to work with what they have. I also asked them, I basically implied the Sony situation, like, are you only going to use characters that Marvel has access to right now, or are you allowed to use anything outside of the Disney wheelhouse? Because we had that problem. Back in the day, X-Men disappeared from like every game known to mankind because Disney didn't have access to them. And they said they have plenty of characters in Marvel. They're not worried about any characters that Disney doesn't own, so most likely that means we won't have a Spider-Man in that game. But once again, hearsay, me just guessing. I don't want you guys to take this as like a grain of like truth. I'm just throwing out my spitball ideas. Overall, the game felt very solid to me, and it looked like something that I would enjoy playing for quite a while. With the type of gamer I am, I would probably play to the end of the game, get a pretty okay set of armor, and then just jump in with people who invited me to play. But I could see people taking this game very far, doing a lot of looter shooter stuff, getting a lot of equipment and stuff like that. Gameplay mechanics, it felt very much like a beat 'em up, but we're all working together with various combos and stuff like that. And they did state straight up, because I know a lot of people are concerned about this, the tutorial is very linear, The actual game is very open. The environments are very open, allowing you to do whatever you want in them. And the example they used was their previous game, the current Tomb Raider reboot, where if you played that, the story elements are very straightforward, but once you got into like a new environment, a lot of times with Lara, you could just go to different corners, you could go up, you could go down, you could go do a camp over here, or you could run down to this spot and do farming, and a lot of different things to do. So if that's the structure they're going with, where it's open-ended but like tunnels down for the story portions, I'm on board because I enjoyed, loved, was like addicted to that Tomb Raider series in general. Story-wise, I'll give you guys a quick rundown on those. What they showed is, and if you've seen the trailer, you know this, but Captain America is going to die in the intro of the game, which I found very weird that they're teaching us the tutorial for him. So as a comic book fan, my first thought was, how are they gonna bring him back? Time travel? Lazarus Pit wannabe? How are we gonna do this? Because why would you teach me shield mechanics if you're just gonna remove Captain America from the player table? But anyway, basically that's gonna happen, and then we're gonna go 5 years into the future and everyone's quit. What they've showed us is Hulk is retired, basically, refusing to turn back to Banner. Black Widow has gone off because she can't deal with the fact that she failed. Same thing with Thor, he doesn't feel that he's worthy. And Tony has given up being Iron Man. And that we have to reassemble the Avengers and send them on a mission to fight against AIM, which is basically building up a series of robots that are kind of slowly conquering the world. To me, it felt very much like the plot to Age of Ultron meets Inhumanity without Thanos, if you know those two plots in the comic book world. And that's basically what it is. The Inhuman bomb goes off, everyone gets powers, and then Age of Ultron it's 5 years, 10 years in the future, and we failed, and the robots took over the world. Combine those two plots, you get to what they're running with here. They said that they're going to give us costumes from 80 years of Marvel history, so that's going to be all your cosmetics. They said they will have unlockables in the game, and there will be microtransactions for them. So that's how they're going to do their additional revenue when it's all over. And that's it. I was excited about the Marvel Avengers game. I really wanted to play it. I was really satisfied with it overall. And I definitely think I'll be playing it, probably on our Twitch stream and on our channel for gaming in general. But let's go ahead and talk about real quick my experience of Final Fantasy VII Remake. So for those who care, I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. Literally, this is a warrior from Final Fantasy XIV. I'm working on a samurai in the backside. I got Bahamut up here, you can't see that. I've played every single title in the series. 7 is my all-time favorite when it comes to storyline. MMO-wise, it's 14 right now. I've played every single one of them except 9, but you can berate me for that in the comments down below. So this felt, to me, as a guy who's played every single Final Fantasy, and a lot of people are hating this analogy, Final Fantasy XV's combat system, but not at launch. If you played Final Fantasy XV at the ending, when they had Prompto and Gladios and Ignis all had different abilities and you could swap between them, and like there was some kind of like playing around with it, that's what it felt like if they had time to properly develop it. So in the game, I could freely go back and forth between Cloud and Barret. So for those guys who don't know, Final Fantasy VII, you have two main characters, Cloud and Barret. In this intro area, you run down, you fight this big boss character, and I did the exact same thing. In combat, I could swap between them. But unlike Final Fantasy XV, when I would swap, I could pause the game and select things. So I could go to Barret, select his ability to use his range shot, go back to Cloud, select his limit breaker, let the game play out, swap back to Barret, select Thunder, go back to Cloud, select Cure, and go back and forth that way. Or stay on one character, and the AI was smart enough to avoid things. In the actual battles, I had to run behind things to protect myself and stuff like that. So it had mechanics like, they reminded me of an MMO, meets the Final Fantasy XV combat system, but with the characters that I love from Final Fantasy VII. So that's the best way I can describe it right there. If you're worried about it being too Final Fantasy XV, no, it's like they took that and 100% improved upon it. But if you're looking for something to reference with, that is about as close as I can say with it. And it's very action oriented as opposed to our old school pause and think it out and things like that. Trials of Mana, the other game that I got to play, also incredible. If you like the action RPG beat 'em up, cutesy cartoon style, great, I loved it. And oddly enough, it was very similar to Final Fantasy VII Remake, where I was swapping between multiple characters, doing all their special moves. Great game though. Oh, I think I got too close, Gary. Yep, now I'm out, now I'm back in focus. This is too close. I was out of focus. Now I'm in focus. I hope you guys enjoyed. I apologize if I was out of focus for any of that. And let me know what you think down below. Are you excited about Marvel Avengers? Are you excited about Final Fantasy VII Remake? Are you excited about Trials of Mana? We're gonna play them all. Don't forget to check me out on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/eligiblemonster for gaming, twitch.tv/Comicstorian for podcasting, and you can find our gaming channel with a much longer discussion of everything we did at PAX and gameplay over at our gaming channel, Eligible Monster. Thank you. I'll see you next time.